If your business is getting faster but not feeling easier, if projects are moving quicker but clients still are not fully satisfied, if AI systems or delegation are increasing output but not reducing friction, there's a reason for that. Most service business owners think the bottleneck is speed. It almost never is. The real problem is that automation can only accelerate work that has already been clarified. And if the work itself is still ambiguous, inconsistent, or dependent on founder interpretation, then no tool, not even AI, can fix that problem. Today, I want to talk about why so many service businesses are getting faster, but not actually getting easier to run. And the key issue right now is AI's effect on business decisions and work output. One of the biggest misconceptions right now is that if work becomes faster, the business should naturally become easier to run. But that's not what a lot of owners are experiencing. Instead, I hear from them every day. They're seeing more revisions, more clarification, more client pushback, and more operational drag. Sure, the work gets done faster, but the friction simply moves further downstream. And the reason is simple. Systems and AI can only accelerate what has already been clearly defined. For example, if done means something different depending on the owner, the account manager, the client, or the person delivering the work, then speed just amplifies that inconsistency. That's why faster businesses are not always becoming cleaner businesses. A marketing agency owner I talked with recently called out the problem directly. Their teams are automating yesterday's flawed workflows instead of auditing what done actually means to the client. The result is faster output that still disappoints the client and margins that evaporate in the gap. What this means from an operational impact is that automation runs on internal definitions of complete, not client value. Pricing pressure increases because perceived quality doesn't rise with speed. The problem is that service was never productized or stress tested against real client outcomes. And the teams feel we're going faster, but clients are getting pickier. Meanwhile, the owners watch margins compress, even as utilization climbs and delegation to juniors or AI fails because the process itself is ambiguous. Now, some owners are now doing full process audits. We're talking intake, handoff to delivery before picking any new tools. And others are rewriting their SLAs around client defined outcomes first. The underlying problem driving this? The business scales on founder intuition that AI can't read. Now, I work with AI every day, and one thing I've learned is how difficult it is to make AI reflect the actual reality of my business instead of that pseudo experience inside the model that AI is built on. Adding to the complexity, AI will often contradict itself, generating multiple right solutions, none of which are derived in the real world. Now, most business owners haven't used AI enough to think about that yet. They ask their teams to automate the workflows they already have using a tool that doesn't truly understand what they're trying to solve. And if the process they're working with is unclear or misaligned, then AI simply scales the confusion faster. A lot of my friends are discovering right now that the business still depends on their interpretation more than they realize. They instinctively know what the client actually means, what good looks like, and where the work needs adjusted. But the team, the systems, and especially AI often don't have any clue. So even when the process is followed correctly, the outcome can still miss the mark because too much of the business is still being carried through unspoken understanding instead of clearly defined expectations. And that's why so many owners still end up stuck in the middle of their business workflow, reviewing, correcting, translating, clarifying, and ultimately fixing the work that technically followed the process, yet still misses the actual desired outcome. The system followed the workflow, but the workflow itself was never clearly aligned to the real client expectation. Now, we've talked about a problem before that most service businesses were never truly designed. They evolved over time, and eventually the owner became the translator between the client expectation, the delivery team, and the actual outcome. Now, that works when the business is small, but once you've implemented systems and delegation, or when AI enters the picture, all of the ambiguity becomes visible because systems cannot stabilize work that changes every time. If done means something different on every project, then the business cannot scale delivery consistently. Let's face it, AI does not replace operational clarity. Systems do not create clarity on their own, but they do depend on it. And if the work itself is unclear, then faster execution only increases dependency, revision, and operational friction. So before adding anything to speed up your output, ask yourself, is the work itself clearly defined enough to scale consistently? If not, then AI won't fix unclear work. It'll simply expose it faster. For the Entrepreneur Strategic Briefing, I'm Randy Bridges. I'll see you back here next week.